everyone, it's Maddie, and today we're going to be discussing Fire and Flood by Victoria Scott. I'm wearing my feather shirt in celebration of Tella's feather that she wears in her hair in a lot of this. No matter how hard I looked, really couldn't find the feathers I used to wear in my hair as a kid. Do y'all remember when that was a thing? When girls would get feathers in their hair and have them. Like, do you remember when that was a fad? I do. 5th grade year. It was around 5th grade year, and we were all getting feathers in our hair because we thought it was the coolest thing ever. And now it's just like dyeing hair. This book is about your average everyday girl named Tella, whose only real problem in life is the fact that her brother is sick, and no doctors can discern why he is sick. And so their parents decide to pack up everything and move to the middle of the woods to give him some fresh air. One day on Tella's bed, she discovers a box, and in said box is an earpiece that, when pressed, tells her that she is invited to be a contestant in the Brimstone Bleed. The Brimstone Bleed is a race across 4 ecosystems: desert, rainforest, ocean, and mountain. And in this book we cover desert and rainforest. The next book will cover the ocean and the mountain. E.I. Salt and Stone. Salt water, Stone Mountain. I literally read this book and had no idea what the title was referencing until the end. And I realized the flood, the rain in the rainforest, and fire, deserts are hot. It's a lot easier to tell in Salt and Stone because there's salt water and mountains are made of rocks. I absolutely adored this book. Victoria Scott is wonderful, and I actually got to interview Victoria Scott at RT Book Lovers Convention this year. Once I post that, I will link it down below. She is absolutely one of the sweetest people ever. I got to have a really long conversation with her about publishing and books, and we actually have similar ideas for a book. I went into this book ready to tear apart the main character because everyone who's read this book has said that Tella is very annoying from the beginning. But honestly, I really like Tella, despite the fact that for about the first 50 pages or so, I was trying to figure out whether or not her thought process was funny or forced. About 100 pages in, I decided it was funny. I liked Tella a whole lot, and I liked her because she was real. She's not Katniss Everdeen, and she is not Tris Pryor. She does not know and need to fight on a daily basis. She doesn't live in a society where she doesn't get what she wants. The only real thing she doesn't have is Wi-Fi in the woods. She acted exactly as a normal person would act if they get thrown into something like this. She worries about bringing nail polish because she's one of those girls who will sit and tan during the summer. She's one of those girls who will put face masks on and go to spas and get her nails done. She is a girly girl, and she gets thrown into an ecosystem without mirrors, without makeup, without bathrooms. She acts hilariously and accurately because she meets several guys there. Teenage girl has feelings for guys, and so several times throughout it, along with the need for survival, she wonders about her hair and her makeup. I don't think anyone can honestly tell me in today's society that if they got thrown into a place without Wi-Fi, bathrooms, or mirrors, they wouldn't every once in a while wonder about how their appearance looked. This would happen if this book was real. A lot of people have been saying this book is dystopian, but I actually asked Victoria Scott about that, and this is realistic fiction, except not really. I mean, it's set in like real time, maybe a couple years into the future, but not like 3100 or whatever some books are. This is set in the now, and so this could happen if things like this did happen. That I'm really glad she pointed out, because I didn't get a dystopian vibe from this whatsoever. The only thing that kind of gave me a dystopian vibe was the technology, because it was slightly advanced, and the Pandoras. They reminded me of Pokemon. Don't watch Pokemon. Know about Pokemon. Pokemon hatch from like red and white circle things, and these hatch from eggs, and Tella's Pandora is kick butt. It's amazing. The other Pandoras are pretty amazing too, but Tella's is amazing. I could not put this down. It had incredible pacing. I read this in about 2 days. It also helped that I had a sick day one of those days. I just flew through it. I was dying to know what was happening to the characters. It is a bit insta-lovey, and as I was reading this, I was thinking, oh, this is cute. This isn't insta-love at all. Nope. The main character's known Guy for 2 weeks, and she's already falling in love with him, which I thought was really good, because I didn't notice the insta-love until I thought back and realized, nope, they've only been in the Brimstone Bleed for 2 weeks, and she didn't even really know him for like the first half of the weeks. I felt that there was some slightly shoddy world building in this in the beginning, but I have a feeling it's purposeful because we're going into someone whose ignorance head. She does not know about the Brimstone Bleed. Her parents weren't allowed to talk to her about the Brimstone Bleed, and so the only things she knows are what Guy tells her and what she's able to decipher on her own, and so we don't really know much about how the Brimstone Bleed came or why everything is like this and how this disease is cropping up everywhere. I'm hoping in Salt and Stone and the possible third book that isn't bought yet but will hopefully be bought by the publishing company very soon explains why the disease is popping up everywhere and why the world is how it is. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and I would rate it about a 96% on my scale out of 100. If you haven't read this book, I would really recommend that you pick it up and read it. So if you haven't read this book, I would go, I would leave, I would read it, and then I would definitely come back and discuss it. Bye, non-spoilery people. Woo. I did not really like Guy in the beginning, but then I did. And as we progressed, I realized he wasn't the typical love interest that we usually have in YA books, which I really liked. He has a backstory that we don't really know about yet. We know a lot about Tella because she just would spew off words ad nauseum to him to get him to talk, and we started to find out a little bit about him, and I'm hoping in Salt and Stone we get to know a little bit more about his backstory, along with Guy as a love interest. I'm not going to call this guy a love interest, I'm going to call him an anti-love interest. Him and Tella are officially my no TP. That shall be Titus. Titus triggers my gag reflex. He tried to kiss Tella and succeeded several times, and I just... He's disturbing and ruthless.
I have this feeling that he's somehow going to come back, even though she stabbed him and pushed him over a rock. I feel like he's going to be like Sebastian in the Mortal Instruments series, where he just keeps coming back. He's like a cockroach, you have to cut off his head.
Maybe he won't come back. Maybe there's going to be the societal antagonist in the next book, but I get that gut feeling that he ain't dead and he's gonna come back. A little ways toward the end, when Dink was getting sick, I was thinking somehow he had contracted the disease that everyone was getting outside. No, Dink is a Pandora, a human-shaped Pandora. What? I didn't see that coming, and he tried to kill Tella. Guy kills Dink, and they think it's all better, but then nope, there's Titus. Lovely, wonderful, awful Titus, who decides to come and swoop in and attack Guy and the friends and kidnap Tella, because that's just how he does things. That's probably not a lot of spoilers, but I enjoyed this book nonetheless. There's just not a lot of it to talk about. It's a small book. I'm so excited for Salt and Stone. You don't even understand. I'm hoping that the sequel does it even more justice and that it's just great and that the series turns out to be one of my favorites, because this is definitely one of my favorite books now. I'm Maddie. Thanks for watching. Tell me what you thought of this book down below. If you have read it, comment, we can discuss. I'll see you next time. Bye.